Hi guys, my name is Jefferson Rojas and today I'm going to I'm going to talk about a topic that is very important. This topic is present simple or simple present. So I'm going to give you the rules or the structures and about it. So, where is the present simple? When do you use the present simple? So, we use the present simple to express habits and routines. For example, my daily routine, general facts, repeated actions or situations, emotions or desires permanent. There are some examples. There are a lot of examples. Well, like she speaks English and they eat every day. And there are other examples about the present simple. So let's continue. I'm going to start with the affirmative form or the affirmative sentences with the present simple. So pay attention, and I hope that you understand, that you can understand me, that you can understand this topic, and that you can learn the rules, the structures about affirmative, about negative, about interrogative sentence. So start. Let's go. So guys, let's continue with affirmative sentences or affirmative form in present simple. The rule is the subject plus verb in present plus complement. This is the rule: subject plus verb in present plus complement. An example can be: he talks with her. Another: you eat every day. Guys, pay attention with the third person. In this case, the third person is he, she, and it. So the verbs in present for the third person, he, she, and it, we add an s to the verb in present. So she is, eats, we add an s to the m, an s, but this is only for the third person, he, she, and it. We add an s, she, it. Another verbs: sleep. For the third person, we add an s for the third person. Another example: he run. Add an s for the third person. So guys, let's continue with negative form or negative sentences in present simple. So the rule for negative sentences is subject plus auxiliary do or auxiliary does plus note plus verb in present. So guys, maybe you can't understand about the auxiliary do, and the auxiliary das. So I'm going to explain you about the auxiliary. So guys, we use the auxiliary do in negative form or negative sentences for I, you, we, and they. And we use the auxiliary das for she, the third person, that is she, he, and it. So, example. She is a person, so we use does. She does not eat. In negative form, the third person, in this case she, we don't add an S. We don't add an S. No, this is incorrect. So she does not eat. I know. So the contraction between does and not is doesn't. The pronunciation is doesn't. Doesn't. This is the contraction. Another example. You, the auxiliary, not sleep. So the contraction between do and not is don't. Is don't. You don't sleep. Okay guys. Continue with interrogative form or interrogative sentences which are in present simple. So the rule is very simple. Pay attention, focus. The rule is the auxiliary do or does plus subject plus verb in present. Simple, of course, verb in present. So, example can be does for third person. Does she work? An example. Another example with do. Do you speak English? Do you speak English? This is the rule and this is example. Does we use does for third person and do for the first person. Guys, be careful, pay attention with this information because this is very important to remember. So, the use of auxiliary questions in this form in mandatory and the intonation is not enough. This applies to all the simple verbs except the verb to be. The verb to be is the only one who does not need an auxiliary. So let's continue with the rule for interrogative sentences in verb to be. The rule for interrogative sentences in be with the verb to be is. In this case, the auxiliary is are or is. Are is for I, you, we, and they. And is for the third person, she, he, and it. Plus the subject plus complement. Some examples. examples. So, for example, are you bored? Is she or is he from Colombia? Can be Colombia. So, are is the auxiliary, you is the subject, bored is the complement. Is the auxiliary for the third person, in this case he, sujeto subject, from Colombia is the complement. So guys, most verbs in third person, the rule for the third person in verbs, we have to add an S to the infinitive form. For example, sit, the verb sit, in third person we add an S. Another verb is the verb sleep, we add an S for the third person. But there are, so guys, some verbs, verb try, the verb cry, and the verb fly. This why Shane by I and at es, I-E-S, I-E-S. So the verb chain. Tries for a third person. Cries, tries, flies. So the pronunciation is tries, cries, and flies. It's for the third person, to form the third person in these verbs. So guys, I continue with infinitive verbs ending in s, ch, and sh. We like the verb means, the verb watch, and the verb wash. So, end in s. For these verbs that end in s, ch, and sh, we add es. Es, sorry. Es. So, misses, washes, and watches is for the third person in verbs. Also, there are irregular verbs. So, like the verb do and the verb go. So the third person in these verbs is does and goes. An example: he does his homework. He does his homework. Another example, but with go: she goes to the cinema. She goes to the cinema. Guys, in conclusion, I can say that you have to pay attention with the third person. Be careful with the third person, how to form the third person in the present. Because in negative and interrogative sentences, we don't add an s to the verb. So only for affirmative sentences we add an S to the third person. The third person is he, she, and it. The verb for negative and interrogative sentences in third person don't change, don't add an S. So I hope that you can understand me, that you can understand the topic. It's very simple, but be careful with the rules, or the structures, with all the grammar and all the sentences. And I hope that you love my work. I hope that you like my work, and I hope that you can learn with me. So thank you so much for your attention, and see you later. Bye.